Listen, I don't know what happened. I wasn't feeling it, and then all of a sudden, here's the Tiff video. So Tiffany Del Real has been with the company for 9 years. She is the wife to Casey Chan, who is a videographer for the company, longtime videographer. Also mom to Isaac, who was an unofficial member of the cast. She's the host of JK News, and she was also like talent for some of their other channels like JK Party and JKFilms. It all started when she met Casey. They were dating for a while. He introduced her to the owners, Bart and Joe, and the whole production of it all. And she started off as an intern, just like Olivia, who, if you remember from her video, her and Tiffany had a little back and forth where Tiffany had called her out on how Olivia ended up exiting the company herself, which fast forward, you're going to be like, oh, that's weird, all things considered. But anyways, so in her How We Met video, Tiff explains that she came from, divorced parents, and there was a significant age difference between her and her brothers. And for a time in her childhood, her and her mother didn't get along, and she wasn't super close with her family members. There was a time where she even lived in Mexico with her father because of all the tumultuous stuff going on at home. She was rebellious in her teens. Basically, a strained background. And then she met JK.
Because growing up, I was on my own a lot. And so meeting these people, it flipped my whole world upside down. I got addicted. Seeing JK as how they were so close, and it was like they made you feel like they were your family. And having that closeness was really special to me because I never grew up with that. Fuck, I'm gonna cry. With the childhood I had, being always on my own and not really having anyone to rely on, having JK in my life was like having a family.
Well, that all came to a screeching halt when Tiff revealed that she was fired by the company earlier in 2021. So according to Tiff, it all started when she was scheduled for JK News, and she found out that she wasn't going to be filming that day. So she asked, can she have her schedule in advance? For whatever reason, that upset one of the owners, and they had like a little heated exchange. And from then, they didn't speak for a few weeks. And whenever they did speak, there was like a little scheduling issue because she was supposed to be in Dallas. Also, she did take some time to go to Mexico, and she was like grieving her grandmother's passing. It was basically 2 months later until they spoke again, and she thought everything was fine until they fired her anyways.
Well, the unfortunate reality is that I will no longer be coming back to JK News. This wasn't my decision, but it was brought to my attention that I no longer fit in well with the show, and I had to agree with them. Because honestly, I have been feeling this way for some time now, and I've just stuck it out for these past couple years that I've been feeling this way because I have felt an undying loyalty and love for this company. So that's why I've just been trying to do my best. So back in April, 2 days before we were supposed to shoot, I was notified that I was no longer going to be on the roster. And so after finding that out, I then requested, can I have my schedule a month in advance? Just like any other job, usually you have your schedule a month in advance, but JK doesn't work like this. We tend to find out the week of, which by the way, we don't get paid salary, we get paid day rate. So then that led to a very unfortunate conversation with one of the owners to the point where he took me off the schedule completely. And so the next day, after I was taken off the schedule, I ended up having a medical emergency. And also at that time, the next day after, I found out that my grandma was really sick. So it was already 3 weeks of me taking time for myself. I reach out to him, he tells me I can't talk to you for another 3 weeks. When we finally speak, I was given the impression that we had resolved everything, where I can now be put back onto the schedule and get back to work and everything's great. But then I get a text afterwards saying that both owners wanted to speak with me. It's 2 months since I've been barred from coming in to shoot. And once we finally have this meeting with the three of us, I was then told that there isn't a future with JK News with me in it anymore. And that time that I had been away had allowed the guys to have a really good time on set. I was quite sad and honestly really disappointed that that was the route that they decided to take with me. Ice me out for 2 months just to get the boot at the end. I mean, that was pretty disrespectful in my opinion, but...
And it is messed up because she's given a lot to the company, and not just time and energy, but, like that others might not have. But she had her kid included in their whole production and allowed them to be around him. And he was like considered an unofficial cast member. She's even like defended them in a way that like she made an ass out of herself. Some people feel like she's became a mean girl, like some others who we know who. And it's all for what? Like people who were at her wedding, her actual wedding, officiated it. And for what? For people who didn't have the decency to call you and hit you up and ask you what happened before they made a whole hour-and-a-half long podcast talking about you who are supposed to be your family, right? I think Tiffany had a closer connection and relationship with, the main cast slash owners than they did with her. And she was like calling this one BFF and this one, they're like all supposed to be family, but you still got the boot. And yes, she did say that she was ready to go. And yes, they did also give a lot to her and, her family. And it wasn't one-sided, but it's the way that it was done. And are we seeing the pattern here that like when someone brings something to their attention that doesn't sit well with them, it's like, oh yeah, also by the way, we was thinking about it. Yeah, you fired, bitch. Like that you were working with them for 2 years and not getting paid. Like who does that? They did not deserve you. She was always so good to them, talking about how close she was with them and how much they meant to her because of how she, lived growing up, and basically was so loyal and always defended them. And even in her separation video, she was saying how like she always respected and appreciated what they did for her. And then you have David, Captain Save-A-Ho, David, I don't really give a shit, but I'm gonna turn the comments off. So, want to put his fucking 2 cents in an hour-and-a-half long podcast. Like, David's I am my brother's keeper head ass. Like, you, and then you got the information wrong. Sit down. You got the information wrong.
Straight, sit down, because you got the question wrong. Sit down. Bye.
He got her pay rate wrong. He got the information about the severance pay wrong. He got the info about June B wrong. Like, shut the hell up. The part that really got me is him talking about, oh, like, y'all don't have to worry about Tiff. Tiff's good. Tiff makes bank. Tiff is rich. Joe lives in a garage. Like, shut up. Don't try to reduce Joe to, like, this little character that the fans kind of made of him, of homeless Joe. Like, he lives in a garage by choice. He lives a minimalist lifestyle. This guy gets on whatever plane to whatever city, country, island that he wants. He gives information on finance online on how to like get people to make 6 figures. Like, don't be trying to like play us like we stupid, like we don't know Joe is rich. Shut up. Now here's Tiff's response to David's video.
Is that David, I haven't heard from David since really after our Hawaii trip together, so he didn't get my side of the story. During that last final Zoom meeting that I had with both owners, one of them did say, he said, hey Tiff, I know you haven't been receiving pay from us for 2 months. I know a lot of people are financially dependent on this income. If you're financially struggling, as a friend, I can help you out. That to me doesn't sound like a company that's offering exit pay. I did not know at all that they were planning on giving me back pay at all. That was never mentioned. So I did decline that offer from one of the owners because to me it felt kind of condescending. And what I kept repeating was that we film 4 days a month, and he's not far off. It was 6 days a month, so we would film 3 days in a row and then skip a week and then another 3 days in a row. So that's about 6 days a month. And so I would find it really tacky to speak about pay, but I mean, they would put it out there, so might as well let you guys know. I was getting paid $900 for a hosting day and $600 whenever I would just be cast. It was the fact that he was saying that we got brought on to Junbi with zero out-of-pocket cost from us. That's false. We put in $15,000 to be part of Junbi. He is completely correct in saying that Joe fought for us so hard to be part of it, which I am so grateful to Joe for that. I did say it in my video. I took 3 weeks to myself, but I wasn't in Mexico for 3 weeks. I was only in Mexico for 4 days, which I had mentioned in my Get Ready With Me video. The reason why I took so much time to myself was because that conversation with that owner, it had gotten so ugly so fast that I didn't know how to approach a situation with the boss who's supposed to be a friend too. The part that I had offered to have that Zoom meeting with those 2 owners in Dallas, and they decided to push it a whole week later. So that wasn't my doing there. That was still a complete lack of communication on their end. And yeah, like, I guess it's iced me out for 1 month then.
So 2 months after the separation announcement video that Tiff posted, she revealed that her and Casey are expecting a baby. A lot of people took notice that no one currently part of JK, said congratulations. Yes, they could have done so in private, but I have a strong suspicion that that is not what happened. Even the once upon a time best friend. So 9 years later, compromised your image, included people in like the greatest moments of your life. And for what? Like, motherfuckers can't even give you a phone call. The fuck? It's fine, but like, if it's a job, leave it at that. It's a job. It's a company. It's business. Don't cross things and then try to retract and go back to like this kind of business mindset where it's like, it is what it is. That's really what makes it shady for me. It's like you have people who are kind of reeled in by this new style of business thanks to social media, and it's They're under the ruse that it's a connection. They're building lifelong bonds even. It's laid back. There's all these perks, but also be okay with things happening that wouldn't happen in normal business. And if you're not, you were never family anyways.